Hey y'all, N4H&H here with the Yaesu FTX-1. I'm about to install the firmware update that came out just a few days ago for this radio. But before I do, I want to show you a couple of things. I'm going to go into the menu, and you got pages. It's already on page 3, which is where I need to be, and I need to be on extension setting, soft version. And you'll notice that the display version right now, this is a fresh out of the box FTX-1. Display version is version 01-01, main is 0100, DSP 0101, SDR 0103. So make a quick note of that. This is how the radio came to me right after it was released. Now I'm going to be updating, and I'll just go ahead and tell you that the update is going to update the main from 00 to 04. So to do that, I have to insert an SD card, micro SD. So let me show you where that goes. Back out of all of this. And I'm going to go ahead and turn the radio off. On the side of the rig, over here, you'll notice a little rubber cover. Just going to flip that out, okay? And the micro SD card is going to go in there into a slot. Okay, so it has to go with the card. Boy, that's hard to get out of there too once you do it. But you have to put the letters toward the back, so the little contacts go toward the front. Press until it clicks in there. Now, why do I need that card? Well, let me show you. Power back up. I'm going to go into the menu. Well, first of all, let me just mention, I'm in memory mode now. I've got a lot of frequencies and filter settings and modes and all set in memory, which when you see white, you're in memory mode, and there they are. And I don't want to lose those. I've also got some menu customizations that I've done. So what I'm going to do is go into the menu, function menu, extension setting, SD card. So this is a new card I just plugged in. So I'm going to go down here to format. You see when I tap that, it automatically went to format. So I'm going to click that. Format SD card, okay. You want to format the card with the radio. While it's doing that, let me just mention. So I'm going to make a backup of the menus, how I have them set right now, as well as my memory frequencies and modes and filter settings and all that. So, all right, format's completed. Press the function knob. And now I want to go to menu save, done, new. And I'll just go with today's date. That's fine. Hit enter. So that's saving all my menu customizations that I've done. Optimizations. Okay, that's done. I'll press the function knob. And now I want to save memories. Okay, see mem list save, my memories. The reason I have the white here. Hit done, new. And again, this one's going to be for today's date. Press the enter here. And while it's doing that, let me explain something to you. Some of the updates, and this goes back even with the FTDX10. I told the viewers of the FTDX10 tutorial series about this. Certain updates from Yaesu may affect the menu structure, so going back and restoring from the SD card could cause problems. That's why I always recommend my Patreon members keep a copy of my menu optimizations PDF. That the ones who join annually at S9 level can get a menu optimizations documents for various radios, even an FT8 guide. And I recommend they keep that so that if there are some issues when they try to restore the menus, the memory should be okay, but when they try to restore the menus, if Yaesu's firmware update did something that affected the menu structure, then reloading from your SD card could cause problems. So you'd want to reset and redo the firmware update, and then manually put back in your menu optimizations using the menu optimizations PDF that I created as a guide. All right, I'm going to press the function knob. So those are saved, and I'm going to hit back. And I'm going to take that out and go to the computer, and I have to download from Yaesu the update files, and then I'll put those on that card, and then we'll come back to the radio and do the update. So bear with me, I'll be back. Okay, I went to yaesu.com. You know, they got a new look. Home, let me show you. There it is. I'm going to go to products, HF transceivers. The FTX-1 is the first one listed. Click on that. And then files, and it's usually near the bottom. There it is. Here's your update information. Let's pull that up. So it's saying that the bootloader version 0100, the display is going to be version 0102, and the main is going to be 0104. The update was released on May 28th, 2025. As I film this, it's June 1, 2025. All right, so it just says, here's what's interesting. It says, what do they do? Improved operation problems. Where there are some problems. I may or may not put some of those videos out. I mean, in fairness to Yaesu, they got the bug fix out pretty quick, if this fixes the bugs that I've identified. Now, some of you who watched my live cast about a week ago about the FTX-1, where I did some Q&A, we did talk about the bugs. I think I talked about the peak reading meter is not working. In fact, the watt meter is not really working at all. It shows like 30 watts out when you're doing sideband, and even on a whistle, I couldn't get it past 50. And I didn't see a difference between peak reading mode or average mode. Average is the default. You can change that in the menu. There's an issue with sending CW from the message memory. It stutters. It's just, it's not sending what you put in. It won't even send the defaults that are in there as samples correctly. So that was an issue. And well, there was a couple other bugs. Go back and watch that Q&A, FTX-1 Q&A that I shot live. The video is still available there on YouTube. So hopefully this improved operation problems will address that. You see here, it just tells you what it's about. I'm going to go back and download the actual firmware update right here, firmware update. I've already downloaded it, but I wanted to show you guys. I'm just doing a save as up here, top right. And I went ahead and saved it on my desktop here. I just did a save as. You could do downloads, you could do anywhere. I stuck it on the desktop in a folder called FTX-1 Updates. That's what I did. So let me close that down. And I'll go back down to the computer monitor, and you can see over here, I've got my desktop FTX-1 Updates folder open. That's where I saved the zip file to. I'm now going to right click and extract here. Well, come on, Windows. There we go. Right click, extract here. And it created a folder called FTX-1 USA Firmware Update 2025-05. Okay, so I'm going to open that, and you'll see the files that are in there. And one of these files is usually going to be, and it is, the very first one, Firmware Update Version Manual. So you open that, and back to the top monitor. This is basically going to tell you how to install it. All right, so you got to have a micro SD card, confirm the firmware version. Okay, I've already shown you all of that. Download the firmware, which we've already done. Now this is really important. Pay attention here. Let me zoom in. People mess up all the time with this. The files that you're going to put in here have to go below FTX-1, not inside one of the subfolders. Okay, just be really careful about that. That's why they're showing it this way. These files need to be in that main FTX-1 folder on that little SD card that I just formatted over there in the radio and made backups of my memories and menus. Okay, so then scroll on down, shows you put the card back in the radio like I showed you before. Important, do not skip this section. All right, in the current main firmware version 0100, proceed to step 4 if that's your current version, and it is. If the main firmware version is different than 0100, proceed to step 11. Okay, so we're going to go to 4 while pressing the QMB, the VMMW, and the M arrow V. That's, of course, this is the one that switches between VFO mode and memory mode, and it's memory right. Okay, so you're going to press all 3 of those simultaneously while turning the transceiver on, and then it's just going to prompt you to install that latest firmware. Okay, make sure the display shows the check marks. You'll see that when I do it. Caution, do not remove the micro SD card or turn the transceiver off while it's updating. Yeah, definitely, please do not do that. So if there's a chance of your power going off during this, don't do it, or run your radio on a battery, okay? And make sure your battery's good. After the update is complete, the power is going to automatically turn off. Unplug the DC power cord and then reconnect the DC power cord. Did you hear that? Okay, very important. Power is going to automatically turn on. Now, I've already noted that in my very first video about this radio, where as soon as you turn on the power supply or plug in a battery, it automatically powers up. Then turn the transceiver on. Well, that's kind of strange because it says here the power will automatically turn on. Well, press the function knob, go to extension setting. They're just going to have you go in there and verify. It says touch SD card, then touch done, firmware update. See there? And there's your list. You can verify. All right, let me just go through it with you. All right, just stand by. I'm gonna get back over to the radio. Oh, well, first of all, I forgot. Let me take these files. Let me go back down to the monitor here. I'm gonna take these files. I'll go ahead and put the manual on there too, so I'll get all of them. Copy. And I'm going to go to the little SD card that's plugged in. See, FTX-1, it made that folder when I formatted. And by the way, the menu list and the menus, that's stored in there right now. We want to put these files right here at the root of this folder. There we go. Now I will be a good boy and eject that with Windows here the proper way. Okay, I'm back in front of the radio. The SD card, micro SD, is plugged in right here. And again, remember, it goes with the writing toward the back, so the little contacts will face forward. I've got the instructions up there on the display, the big display there. And so first thing, press and hold the function knob to confirm. All right, well, so remember we went through all of this where we found out what version I have in mine already. We've gone through the download. We've got it on the SD card. The SD card is plugged in. So while holding the QMB, the VMMW, and the M arrow V MT keys simultaneously, we're going to power up. Okay, so one finger here, one finger here. So these two on the top. Let me get down a little bit so you can see that. So these two, the outside button and the next one to it, the QMB here with my thumb. Press all 3 of those and power up. Okay, so it says insert latest version firmware SD card, touch the screen to continue. Okay. All right, now it's showing me that display version 0102 is coming. Main version 0104 is coming. No update to DSP or SDR. So if you're wondering, did it improve DNR? No. Anything done to the software-defined radio portion of the rig? No. So this has to do with the quirkiness some of us experiencing with just standard functions of the radio. Now it says, do not touch, up here on the screen, it says, do not touch the screen, proceed to the next step. Huh. Well, was I not supposed to? It said touch the screen. All right, well, it says turn the function knob 5 clicks. All right, that's not working. I'm going to power down and start this over. These instructions may be a little funky. says touch the screen to continue. But up there on the instructions, it says do not touch the screen, proceed to the next step. Turn the function knob 5 clicks. Huh. Okay. Weird. Guys, did y'all catch that? That was weird. The instructions on screen were different. Now we're back to here. All right, so that was step 5. It says the bootloader screen appears. That's what we're looking at now. Now, let's see what it says here. Make sure the display shows the check mark, then touch update. So we're only updating the display. The update progress indicator is displayed when the firmware transfer begins. There's got to be, okay, it wants you to do it in 2 separate steps. All right, just following it the way it says. All right, so display is checked. Touch update. Okay, let me zoom in. Yeah, I still have the plastic on the screen. I'll take it off eventually, after I quit touching the screen so much. I'll get a mouse connected to it eventually. Maybe. There's a USB port on the left here, so this may not support a mouse. It powered down. The update progress indicator when the update is complete, the power is automatically turned off. Unplug the DC cord, then connect the DC cord. Okay, we'll do that and reconnect now. It says the power is automatically turned on. Well, that didn't happen. Proceed to step 12. Interesting. Well, the power did not automatically turn on. These things don't always happen as it says. I'm just going to power it up. Press and hold the function knob. Extension setting. Touch SD card, then touch done. SD card, touch SD card. Firmware update. Then done. See, these instructions, let me show you what it says up there. Yeah, this needs to be rewritten. It says touch SD card in the extension setting now. Then done on firmware update. Yeah, I mean, I kind of get what they're saying, but they should have said go to firmware update and press done. A list of firmware stored in the micro SD card is displayed. Interesting. I didn't see that. All right, guys, that's not happening. Look at this. So I went to SD card, firmware update, done. It goes away and it comes back, but I don't see this next screen up here, which is that screen that shows all the different firmware updates. See? That's what I'm supposed to be seeing. See, and this is the part where you do the main. I'm glad you guys are coming along with me here, because look, I mean, this isn't making sense to me either. Those of you who have updated yours, comment on the video and tell me what you ran into. I mean, it got off the rails at the very beginning. Okay, I might break this radio, but I think I'm going to go back to the very beginning. As I recall, with all these Yaesus, the way it normally works is at the very end, you have to do a factory reset. You hold back and the find fast button simultaneously while turning the transceiver on. So none of these updates take effect until you do that. I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to go back out of here because that's obviously not working. Power down. I'm holding those, let me zoom out, I'm holding these buttons again. QMB, power up. I'm going to follow the screen this time. Touch the screen to continue. There they are. Do not turn power off. See that? Interesting, it says that I skipped the main before. I was following the written directions. This time it powered back up. Oh yeah, and remember it said to turn the radio off or unplug the power. Yeah, am I going to do that or not? I'm going to live dangerously. I'm going to go into the extension setting, SD card, firmware update done. Yeah, see, it's still not. All right, I'm going to try it one other way. Back to the start. This shouldn't be rocket science, folks. I'm going to see if it'll update both of them. See, look at that. That's what you think you should do. See, the second one says waiting. Finished. See, we didn't see that before because we only did one. Looks to me like you can do both back to back. I think that's not written correctly, those instructions. But now the proof's going to be in the pudding when we do the factory reset. I even wonder if it's necessary to pull the power. This part seems like it's going to take a little while. I wonder, maybe I'll speed the video up here or not. I don't know. I might let you see this in real time. So while it's doing that, I think what's going on here, the instructions are a little bit strange, but you know where it says if you currently have main version 0100, proceed to step 4. If you have a different version, then you go to step 11, and step 11 has you go through the extension setting menu. So it says here, I'm reading up there while you're watching that screen, it says the current main firmware version is different than V011, start from step 11. Okay, power down, and it's powering up. All right, now let me just show you a little clue here with these Yaesus. If it comes back to where you were on frequencies, then it in fact is not running the new firmware yet. And so I'll go into extension setting menu, SD card. Oh, wait a minute. I want to see soft version. So just see. Oh, it says main 0104. Okay, but it's not going to take effect yet until we do the factory reset. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and do that. Let me power down. But before I do that, let's go over here and do this firmware update done. Let's see if that, see, that's not doing anything. So that part of the instructions is weird. Maybe that only works if it's a update for, when you're updating something other than version 01-00. We'll see. All right, so I'm going to back, power down. They said unplug it. I'll do that. I'll unplug it one more time. But that's what the written directions say. I don't trust them now. And then replug it. It's interesting though, when I turn my power supply on, it powers the radio up. Just unplugging it and plugging it back in does not power the radio up. So that's interesting. All right, now I probably shouldn't have had it connected to the computer while I was doing all this. You know, over here, that's the USB-C. I think I'll disconnect that while I do this. I think the mic will be okay though. All right, now I'm gonna do the power up sequence. The very bottom page of the, let me go back up there. Very bottom page says you wanna press back and find fast. Well, that's it's always, let me show you something. It's usually on these Yaesus, the factory reset is usually the two buttons that are below left and right of the VFO. So I'm gonna press those two while powering up. And there's your clue that the update took. You see the frequencies that came up? You know now you're running latest firmware. After you've done a firmware update and you do the factory reset, if it comes back and you're seeing your frequencies, the update is actually not, even though it showed it in the extension setting a while ago. Remember I went there, I wanted you to see that. It said, hey, main version 0104. No. That version was sitting there ready to be put in, but it got put in and made effective when, well, it was installed, but it was made effective when I did this reset, factory reset, holding down back and the find fast button while powering up. And one of the things I noticed when I powered it up, it said FTX-1. I had my call sign in there. In the menu, there's a place to put your own call sign. So now let's see what happens when I go in, I recover. I'm going to live dangerously here. I'm going to recover from my SD card. First, I'll do my memories. Memory list load. There's the one I saved earlier. Overwrite. And I'm just going to tap the function key. Oh, yeah, power's down. See, it says FTX-1. Let's see what happens when I do the menus now. Okay, yeah. It's got my memories back, see them? I'm gonna switch over to the other VFO, put it in memory mode. Yeah, that's what I wanted to see. Pressing the sub dial here, press it in. You rotate it to change the memories on that side, or frequency, whichever mode you're in, VFO or memory. And then you press it to switch the TX-RX back and forth. All right, so we're back over on this one, and definitely I got my memories back. I'm gonna go back into the menu, long press function, extension setting, SD card. Now this is where I'm living dangerously, because if they changed menu structure, when I load my menu to get back all my optimizations, I might mess it up. Now, it's not the end of the world. I'll just do this all over again, and then I'll manually put in my optimizations. I'll just do the factory reset again, and then I'll manually put in my menu optimizations. Okay, so menu load, done. Load that one, overwrite. Yeah, you notice it loads the menus quick. It's usually that way. It's been that way on other rigs. Press function. Yep, you get the beeps, shuts down, powers back up. It said N4H&H. Did you see that? That tells me that my menu settings got loaded. And so let's test that. I'm going to long press function, and I'm going to go to radio setting. And look at that. I've got my AF treble gain, my AF middle tone gain, my AF bass gain. Those are some settings I did in another video. So those came back. Let me scroll down a little bit. It's got my high frequency cut and my slope, 2500 hertz. I'm going to slope off at 18 dB per octave. That's in there. My transmit BPF is set at 200 to 2800. So yeah, it all came back. Now the question is going to be, as I operate the radio, will I run into any kind of problems because of the fact that I did not just manually put all that stuff back in? I pulled it off the SD card. All right, so that's just a thing to be aware of. I wish Yaesu would tell us, when they tell us that they improve things, that's not enough. I wish they would say, hey, you're not going to want to reload from the SD card. It would be nice if they warned us about that. This video has gotten long, but it was a lot to go through. I guess I could just try one of the things that was buggy. I'll do that. Go to the dummy load, operation setting, and let's see, I think it's in transmit general. No, let's see. Oh, no. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. Meter average, set that to peak. And I'm transmitting into a dummy load. Watch the power output meter. I'm over here on this side. Whoa. Oh, it's set to CW. Wrong memory. There we go. We'll do there. N4H&H. Hello. Hello. Yeah, that's fixed. That wasn't working before. Let me go back into the menu and set it to average, which is the default. And it should not make it to 100. Hello. Yeah, see, look at that. Hello, hello. Making it to about 30. Yeah, I mean, that's how it acted before. Even with a whistle, you can't get 100. But it's looks like the peak is now working, so I'm going to go back in there and set it to that and leave it. And while I'm in here, I'm going to try one other thing. I'm going to go to the CW memories, the message memory it's called. And, whoops, went too far. There. I'm not in CW mode. Let me back up. Let me get out of here. I'm going to go back to that. That's what I wanted. I want that CW now. Okay. Message. Now you see it's got these built-in messages here. 4 and 5 are already in there. And the other day it wouldn't even play those correctly. So we'll see what happens. I'm going to tap this one. That worked. Okay, here's a bonus for this video, you guys. I'm packing a bunch into this. I'm going to tap MEM1 and key in my call sign. N, switch it over to numbers, 4, back to ABCs, H, N, H, enter. And that is now in MEM1. And by the way, you notice it put that little, let me zoom in. It put that little bracket in there at the end. Leave that in there. That's very important. See that little, not exactly a bracket, but something, I forget what that's called. If you know what that's called, put it in the comments. But it's almost like a parenthesis, closed parentheses with a little, about halfway down, a little piece sticking out. That's important that that stays in there. Yaesu puts it in there on theirs too. You'll notice at the end, after the K here. Otherwise, if you send it automatically, it'll take a while to unkey. So leave that in there. All right, let's play it and see if it works. All right, there we go. So 2 of the bugs that I had identified have been corrected. So this is exciting for Yaesu to put out an update that quick after a radio is released. Kudos to Yaesu for that. for real. I mean, I give Yaesu a hard time when they deserve it, but look, this was great. I think what happened was they wanted to get this radio to Dayton, and they probably had these updates they were still finalizing, but they wanted to go ahead and show it at Dayton. And I don't disagree with that reasoning. I'm just guessing, but if it were me, I would say, yeah, you know what, let's go ahead and get the thing, so we can show it at Dayton, let some folks get the radio in their hands, and then we'll put out a quick update. And they did, and kudos to them. This update is fine. All right, hey, thanks for watching videos on my channel. I appreciate you very much, and please do me a favor. I want to acknowledge 5 of the Patreon team long haulers who bring these videos to you. The Patreon team members supply 98% of the funding right now to keep this channel going so that I don't have to align with a manufacturer. So these people are vital. And if you want to join the team, please do. But I want to acknowledge 5 of the long haulers. What that means is these are S9, that's my highest tier, members who have supported the channel on a yearly basis for multiple years. Without them, I wouldn't have been able to sustain this. So please do me a favor and acknowledge these 5 that I'm about to pull up on the screen. Thanks again, and 73 from N4 H&H.